Health officials report 111 terminally ill people in California took life-ending drugs in the first 6 months after assisted suicide was legalized in the state last year. Nearly 200 people received life-ending drugs, and over 170 doctors prescribed them in California. Also, according to the health report, nearly 90% of those who took their own lives were 60 years or older, and most had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. Assisted suicide is also legal in Colorado, Montana, Vermont, Washington State, and Washington, D.C. I had the chance earlier this year to ask Los Angeles' own Archbishop Jose Gomez about the topic of assisted suicide and how Catholics should respond to the alarming law. His Excellency reiterated the need to be present for those who are suffering, especially the elderly. Your state, California, recently legalized assisted suicide. More and more states are introducing similar legislation. How do you respond to the claim and the argument that people should have a choice as to when life should end?
Well, we follow what we were talking about, that human life is created by God. God is the one who has the right to start life and end life, in a sense. So I think for us, it is important to support people, as I said before, from conception to natural death. I think a lot of times, it's just that the people have the concern of what's going to happen to them, who's going to take care of them. I was talking to somebody the other day, and he was telling me that this elderly person was telling him, make sure that you don't leave me alone when I get old. So this person died when he was 92. He was always had that concern. So I think a lot of people have that concern. So for us Catholics, I think an important part of our ministry is to be there for the elderly. In the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, we are trying to have in every single parish ministry for the elderly, especially for people that are in nursing homes. So we want to support them in that challenging time.
Joining us now is Kathleen Domingo, the Director of the Office of Life, Justice, and Peace in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Kathleen, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we just heard from Archbishop Gomez saying there's a need for ministry specific for the elderly. Is this a response to legalize assisted suicide here in California, or is this for a separate purpose?
Right. So I'm so happy that you're sharing Archbishop's words. He is such a blessing for us as our shepherd in LA. Yeah. Really, when we were fighting assisted suicide 2 years ago, we learned a lot of things. So first of all, we learned that our Catholic population polled at the same as the rest of the population when it came to assisted suicide. And we were really struck by the fact that our folks were just not prepared to deal with this issue. And I think the narrative that we have in our culture right now is that death is something scary, it's something to be afraid of. And the media really does sort of portray the worst case scenarios, right? So most people actually want to die at home, but very few get to. Most people die in the ICU or they languish in nursing homes. And unfortunately, that narrative is pervasive. So what we've decided is the best thing to do is to help people understand that death can actually be a beautiful part of life, especially in our Catholic tradition, where we can be surrounded by loved ones and family and friends at the end. And it can be a time of joy and reconciliation and peace. And I think that's really what Archbishop is getting to. He's getting to the heart of the parish is meant to be an extended family, right? So what our parishes can do is really be there for people when they're sick, when they're suffering, when they're in great need, so that no one has to face the end of their life alone.
Here in California, especially in Los Angeles, the pro-life battle is extremely active. How does the Archdiocese of Los Angeles respond? Can you tell us about some of your initiatives?
Absolutely. So we've got a lot of challenges in California. We talked about assisted suicide being legalized. There's one place very near our offices in downtown LA where there are 9 abortion providers in 1 square mile. Wow. We've got 30,000 kids in foster care. We've got 60,000 people homeless and on our streets in LA. It really is ground zero for people in need. And so what we try to do with the Archdiocese is we really want to mobilize people. And first we have to show them their own dignity and help them to understand who they are and what they've been put on this earth to do, so that they can then go out and intentionally build a culture of life by whomever they meet. So we follow Pope Francis. He asked us to go out to the peripheries, right? He asked us to look at those people who are thrown away in our culture. And we try to get people to do that because they are driven by that love of Christ that they see in their own hearts first. We know that women very often find it difficult to understand the dignity of their unborn children if they don't first understand their own dignity. And so we like to start there.
That every life is a gift. The title of your office is the Office of Life, Justice, and Peace. What's the vision behind that?
So the vision really there is Archbishop's. When he came to LA, he thought that would be the best place to start by uniting some things that can seem disparate at times. And so what we found is that it really resonates with people. People see that there are folks in need and we're called to help them, right? We're all brothers and sisters in Christ together. And so sometimes we have to defend life vehemently, and other times we're called to embrace life. So go out and see those people on the peripheries who really just need some help. And sometimes, like today, we're called to proclaim life, to teach and to advocate. And so we do all of those things through our office, and we try to have that seamless understanding of helping those in need.
As someone who does evangelize about the sanctity of life, that's a huge part of your job. What advice would you have for our viewers who want to share that message with their friends and their neighbors?
Sure. I would say let's be as positive as we can. I think when we're sharing the message of building a culture of life, we need to understand that it's not just an intellectual idea that we're asking someone to assent to. It's actually a complete life change. And so we need to be ambassadors of a way of life that is attractive to other people. And I think sometimes when we get in the middle of the fray, when we're fighting or demonstrating, we forget that people are looking at us and saying, do I want to be like her? Do I really want to espouse that kind of lifestyle? So I would just say keep it positive, unify whenever possible, and really recognize that you are, in fact, the message.
And I love that idea. You are an ambassador. We're all ambassadors carrying that message. You know, we touched on it a bit, how California does present several different challenges. Through your work, how do you hold on to hope? What brings you hope and what drives you?
We are very hopeful for a number of reasons. I think, first of all, one of the things that we've done here is we've created the event One Life LA. And it is a beautiful event. It's in January, so it's part of, sort of in solidarity with all of the pro-life events taking place around the country. But ours is a little bit different. It's really a festival. We bring people together to celebrate the beauty and dignity of every human life. And we get people across the board from every strata of our culture in Los Angeles. And we bring people from every language. And then we all come together just to celebrate. And so there's an opportunity for unity there. What we're also doing is helping shift that conversation, again, toward positive, toward reaching out and bringing everyone together. And then we ask everyone to leave with an idea of what they're going to do next to build a culture of life. So we bring organizations there to actually sign people up for volunteer service to build a culture of life in their communities.
And to have those practical next steps that they can do at a local level. Kathleen Domingo of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, thank you for your work and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.